Hello, Jean. Are you all finished for the season now? Are you all finished for the season now?
No, I have three sitting out there playing whatever they're doing.
Okay, but
But I leave on Saturday or no, Sunday.
You're down from, you had like 90?
Huh?
You had like 90?
No, I only have 60 clients.
Okay, 60. And now you're down to 3. That's pretty good.
Well, it would be better if I was down to none.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of ones that I need to do.
And where are you headed?
England, Wales, and Scotland.
When are you going?
Yeah, on Sunday.
That is very exciting.
What is it? Overseas Adventures.
Fantastic.
Oh, very, very nice.
Actually, I had October 1st through the 7th in Kanapali, Maui, for when my cousin from Asheville, North Carolina, comes to visit. And I don't think either one of us want to go to Kanapali, Maui in October, because I think it's going to be still really, the whole island's going to be in a big problems.
Absolutely.
So I canceled those, and I made reservations for a couple of nights in Tahoe and a night down in Monterey instead. There she is.
Am I the only one in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
I'm holding down the
and Betty Nealand.
There's Betty.
Hey, Betty.
Hey!
I'm hiding my picture.
Wonderful.
Just a minute. Are you our same person, leader?
It's not 6 o'clock here. I mean, 3 o'clock. What time did this meeting start?
It's 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock.
Well, it's 6 o'clock here in Boston, but it's not quite 6. So you guys are ahead of time.
Yeah, we thought you were ahead of time.
No, it's actually 5:59.
Yeah, we thought that.
So how is everyone?
Hey, we're
Not too
good.
bad.
And
Well, if you
this
live
is
in the East, it's very, very hot every day.
Yeah, we've been
every day after day.
Hey, here comes Ken Stauffer.
Yeah.
I mean, Art.
Hey, Art.
Hey, Art. Hi.
Hi.
I haven't seen you for a while. And this is Catherine Richmond.
Hi, I'm Catherine.
Yes.
I am Jake's partner in crime.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. I came on in April of this year.
Wonderful. Jake, you guys, Jake is the person at the alumni office, and apparently Catherine is helping him, who works with all of us older people. Or I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, there's Chuck and Marcy. Oh, Marcia's coming. Okay. All right. I was afraid I was going to be alone, but I had several people who said they wouldn't be here this time. So I always have Terry come on with me. That's my husband from the class of 53.
Yes, I'm always there for you.
Yes, because I feel like,
boy.
if nothing else, I can talk to him. He's in one room and I'm in another.
Okay.
And we could talk to each other if worst came to worst. But here you are joining me. Thank
That's
you.
not a permanent arrangement.
You are both so lucky to have one another.
We are. Thank you. We are. And I truly, I know that. Thank you. Hey, Chuck, you're here. Art, you're here.
Yep.
I'm going to wait just a little bit. Marcia and Dave, there you are, both of you. You're up in Coeur d'Alene, aren't you?
Where?
Coeur d'Alene? Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
I got it. Coeur d'Alene.
Yep. All right. Well, we've got a few more people that are going to come, but let me just give you the overall little game plan here for this time. We have somebody new and young and fresh-faced joining us, Catherine Richmond. Kathy, is it?
Catherine Richmond. Yes.
And as you've all heard us referring to Jake Wellington, he works with all the old people in the alumni thing. And so there's so many of us now that Kathy is now going to be helping him, which is great. So good. I'm delighted to have her join us today. Let me just say that our usual wonderful Mike Arnstein, who is our class correspondent, is usually with us, and he wraps up our meeting. But today he has a very important eye treatment, and that he did not want to cancel. So he's going to be with us next time. But in lieu of being here, he sent me a wonderful report that I'm going to read to you, all his communications with our classmates that he's probably going to put in the magazine. And so he asked me to share them with you, and I will wrap up the meeting as we always do with Mike's wrap up of what's going on with some of our classmates. And in the meantime, we will start the meeting with 2 introductions. And the first one will be Kathy Richmond, to just tell us a little bit about herself and what she's doing. And if that's okay, Kathy, would you like to do it that way?
Sure, that's
And
fine.
then after that's finished, I'm going to ask Ken Carlson, who is my good buddy, to just tell us in 5 minutes or less, Ken, what you've been doing since you graduated from Stanford in 1955. So, and then we've got a few other topics to talk about. So Kathy, you're on.
Sure. So I go by Catherine, which is fine, or Kathy, if you like. I joined ASCO in April of this year, and I just jumped right in, and I'm managing all the mini reunions and helping the volunteers and keeping things up to date on the website. And one thing that you all might be very interested in is I'm organizing the Cardinal Society Happy Hour this year. So any of you that are, thank you, any of you that are attending, you will see me there, and I look forward to meeting you all in person.
We'll be there.
Thank you. I look
Awesome.
forward to that.
Great, thank you. And I'll answer any questions I can. So feel
Good. I have
free
one.
to shoot a question, and if I can't answer, I'll find an answer for
Are
you.
you, Ken Carlson, are you ready to give us your 5-minute synopsis of your life?
Sure. I got engaged in the spring of my senior year, and my to-be wife asked me to ask her father for her hand. And he was a scary guy because he had been a captain in the Navy in the Pacific with 6 battalions answering to him. So he was a tough guy. But I got through him, and he says, "Okay, but get a job." I spent the summer doing that, living with 5 guys on in Palo Alto, and one guy became a professor at the University of Washington. Another guy became the head of the Atomic Energy Commission, or whatever they call it in England. So it was an interesting summer. I just got back from camping at Lake Tahoe. Been there most of the summer. My granddaughter works at Richardson Corral, and so we were really visiting her. And we had rain almost every day and thunder and lightning every day for quite some time. It was an interesting camping experience. Right now, I'm trying to dry out my tent and other camping equipment in the backyard. Anyway, something interesting going on is the little church that I belong to here in Hillsborough. We've invited the county to place homeless on our property. We have 50 acres. And boy, has that been a problem. The local community doesn't like it at all because we don't know who these people are. And apparently it's forbidden to ask them if they were sex offenders or murderers or what. So the community around us is very nervous about it and wishes we'd go to the fairground or someplace like that. So that's an ongoing issue we have, and it's kind of interesting to see how it's developing. The houses will contain only one person, and there's going to be about 40 to 60 people coming, and the county is going to supervise the whole event, and if anybody gets out of line, they're out, and they have no housing. And I guess right now that doesn't matter much, but coming this winter, that will be a big deal. So we'll see how it all comes out. But the neighbors are quite concerned about it, and I can't say that I blame them. So we'll see how it all develops.
Well, it's always interesting to get involved in the neighbor. Stay away from the neighborhood disputes, Ken.
Well, that's the problem with having 50 or 50 acres, and we're not using a lot of it. I mow 4 acres of lawn every week on it on the property, but soon that's going to be reduced by the homeless people moving in.
Betty Nealand Crowley, I've known you since Branner days, and I'm so grateful that you're here this time joining us. Betty, would you take the opportunity to synopsize your life in 5 minutes?
Well, I don't know. I graduated from Stanford a quarter early. I have to tell everybody this funny story though, and I don't know if anyone would remember, but I used to perform at the halftime of the boys' basketball games. And we did a troupe of gymnastics, and Dan Ham was with me on that too. After I graduated from Stanford, because I was early, I took a month's vacation in Europe, and I was on the Bridge of Sighs in Venice, and a gentleman came up to me and said to me, "Did you go to Stanford?" And I said, "Yes." And he said to me, "I remember watching you at the basketball games and the gymnastics." Isn't that amazing? So, so anyway, I married the man I went to high school with. He went to Norwich University, which is a military school. We had 5 children. The oldest is now 66, and the youngest is 57. Everybody's done well. I started out, I taught 6th grade before I got married. And if you can believe it, those people would be probably 74 years old today. Isn't that an amazing thought? And instead of being a full-time teacher, because they were laying off people, I became a substitute teacher. And I work in Winchester, Massachusetts is where I grew up. And I've worked there for 50 years in the school system.
Wow.
But I have to tell you, the school systems are getting bad now. So many things going on. I don't even want to mention what they are, and I'm sure you all know what's going to happen. And they've just built 240 apartments in the city of Winchester, and I'm afraid that's going to kill the school system. I don't see how they could possibly handle that. Other than that, unfortunately, I did something to my ankle, so I'm wearing a boot. I don't know if you've ever worn one of those, but it's horribly debilitating, and you can't, it's unfortunately my right foot, so I can't drive. But I'm still driving. I have a summer house in Duxbury, Mass, which is right near Plymouth, and I go down every weekend, and we've been there since 1965. I live in Melrose, which is 5 miles from Winchester, and I bought my grandparents' house, so I've been there ever since. I live alone. I love living alone, and I read a lot. I'm always looking for somebody to give a recommendation of a good book. And other than that, I used to bake all the time when I was in school, but once the pandemic came, I sort of stopped baking. But my son is up from Asheville, North Carolina this week, so I'm going to have to make cookies for him. Other than that, everything's good. And who knows if we'll be here for the next week. But no, this isn't our reunion. Our reunion is in 2025, right?
Yeah, this is not a once we
No.
reach a certain age, we go, we're home for homecoming every year.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Yeah, because we don't know how long we're going to make it. But
no, the last time I was there at Deanne's was in 2015, and I'm on a walker 24/7. I have no balance, so I can't do much of anything.
Just hang in there with it. Hey,
Yeah.
Thank you, Betty. That's terrific.
You're welcome.
You know what? I'm just going to quickly, because there's 2 newcomers, I'm just going to quickly go around and have just introduce everybody. Jean up in the right-hand corner for me. Go ahead, say hello and tell us who you are.
I'm Jean Lay. I'm headed off to England, Wales, and Scotland on Sunday for 20 some days. I'm still working as a CPA. This is the office. I have 3 people that are hanging out there waiting for the last moment to give me their stuff. And if they wait too long, they'll have to find somebody else, because I'm not stopping my travels just for them.
Okay, and you used to be Jean Curry in a former life.
I still am Jean Curry. It's just I've added Lay after that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, John is not around anymore. He's
Yeah.
passed away 17 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a long time without, but
Thank
I'm
you.
still living and enjoying life. So
And you're just great. We're going to get back to you because I know you're coming in for the reunion.
yes,
Jenny Stern, Jenny Waxman. I remember Jenny Waxman Stern now. Just a
Good.
quickie. Tell us where you are.
I'm right here in Washington, D.C., in
Okay.
Cleveland Park, a neighborhood we were in for, since John Kennedy was elected president. So
Wow.
we've been here a very long time. Bob passed away 2.5 years ago, but he was in almost 93. So we had a wonderful marriage and 4 great children, and 3 are married and 1 has a partner, and that one is located right near Stanford. So I get to find news about Stanford.
Thanks, Jenny.
Mhm.
Hey, Art Stoffer, I haven't seen you for a while. You all settled in?
Oh, not really. We moved to the V retirement home in November last year, and we're sort of just getting organized now. There's about 400 people, 450 people here. So it's a pretty big place, and a lot of very, very interesting people. Every time you go to talk to somebody, you find out that they were, this or that, or some. At this age, you can't tell from looking at them, but you can when you hear what they have to say. It's quite interesting to talk at dinner time. So we're enjoying that part, but it's not quite the same as having your own house.
Jean Mudge. What's up with you, Jean? Introduce yourself and tell us where you are and what you're doing.
I'm in Berkeley, and I am recovering from a family wedding on Prince Edward Island. Getting to that place and getting home again is an athletic event, as travel can be, because of plane delays. I spent the whole 12 or almost 24 hours, it felt like, in Logan Airport on the return. But in any case, it was a lovely, lovely wedding. And that was my oldest son's oldest child. So I've got 4 grandchildren, and all of them are married now. So no great grandchildren yet. I'm hoping soon. Anyway, I'm working on a book about my dad, who was active in the South Pacific during the World War II. The working title is War Front, Home Front, because I'm alternating between what he was doing, working up the island chain toward Tokyo, while we were living in Palo Alto, and doing whatever families did during the war. I'm sure you all remember that too. But I am working from a very rich, almost day-to-day correspondence between my grandmother in Palo Alto and my dad in these different stations during the war. And it's amazing what he was able to get through the censors in terms of talking about what was occurring. Of course, not exact positions. And nevertheless, it's fascinating to get into secondary sources because I have to immerse myself in the big picture here and then dovetail my family details into that bigger picture. So that's what I'm doing.
Wonderful. Thank you. Hey, Marcia, I'm going to hop up to you.
Coming out.
Marcia Bragg.
I'm
Marcia.
here.
Yep. Tell us what you've been doing. And introduce yourself and where you are and what you've been doing.
David and I are here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, at our beautiful lake place, which is not beautiful now. And I think Dave's going to turn the computer around and show you how horrible the smoke is.
1,000 wildfires we're enjoying.
Not close
Not
to,
close by.
not close by, but it's just awful. I don't know if you can.
Oh, wow.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
Isn't that awful?
Yeah.
But
It really-
otherwise, you'd have a nice view.
Yes, we do. When
Yeah.
the sun's out, it's even pretty without the sun. But yes, it's beautiful here. We've enjoyed a lovely summer. We had most of our we had our 4 children here, and out of 11 grandchildren, I think we had 8, which is not bad since they're all working and going to school and whatnot. And so we had a lovely week with them, and we are going back to Arizona in a couple of weeks right after Labor Day. And but it's only 60 degrees here and all of this smoke, so we're kind of glad we're hunkered down talking to all of you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And I'm glad for the temperature. That's really great. Anything to add to that, Dave? Dave Bragg?
Yes.
Anything to add to
Oh,
that?
and no, I don't think so. We're even with the weather the way it is. It's such a contrast to our life in Scottsdale that it's 2 months of really a totally different lifestyle and a nice break. We love it.
Except that I have to cook, and we now live at the V in Scottsdale, and I don't have to cook there. So there is a slight disadvantage here.
Yeah, but Marcia, just think when you get back, you'll truly appreciate
Oh,
not
Oh,
having to
yes,
do
you
it.
will.
Yeah,
you bet I will.
that's great. Okay, so Ben
Did
Vernat,
right now.
before I'm gonna get to you, Chuck, but Ben Vernazza, I know you're there behind that airplane. There you are. How's
You're
life going with you? Introduce yourself. Tell us where you are. Just a
Okay.
little bit about you.
I am Ben Vernazza. I live in Aptos, California, about a half a block from the beach. The most important thing that has happened to me, there's really 2 things. One's good, and the other one we'll see. The best thing was in July, I had a family reunion of the Vernazza clan down to the great grandchildren, which 8 came. And we had that at Felton at the Boulder Creek at my son's house. And I arranged, it was a 3-day affair. I arranged the first day, if you know about Roaring Camp at Felton, that has a train that goes down to the boardwalk, but it also goes up in the redwoods above Felton. And so I just arranged for 1 car for us, and we had a great trip. Everybody started off the reunion great. So that was wonderful. I've been going through a lot of tests, physical tests. I have a little problem with my neck, so I had a surgery about 3.5 months ago, and I grounded myself from flying, unfortunately. But I'm going to in the next couple of weeks go up and do some simple things to start with. One thing I have to worry about: I don't put it into reverse, so I don't have to turn around too far at this point. So, so anyway, that's what I've been up to. And one thing too, traveling. My wife and I decided that it's too much trouble to go traveling for long distances on airlines, and made changes with cancellations, with gate changes and that kind of stuff, and the time changes. So we were planning a trip to Europe, but we canceled it. We're not going to do that anymore. no long trips. Our kids are overseas, they can come and see us. So that's another thing.
Okay, that sounds great. Sounds like
yeah.
a plan.
So that's about it. Is bring you up to date. I'm still active in my profession, which I'm a CPA, but I don't do any really accounting work. I do. We're an advocate for investors and a consultant to financial advisors. So that's still a project I'm involved in.
That's great. I thought you and Jean were getting together at some point regarding an issue regarding CPAs.
Well, yeah, but she's traveling all the time. I can never get.
It's true, Jean. You can't keep you down at all.
That just shows you how efficient she is in her profession.
Well, I'm going
Try
to
to be.
I'm going to, until I think that's Rudy Reich trying to come in, but I'm going to leave him for a minute till he gets settled, because
Good.
I really want to talk to Chuck Stockholm. Chuck, you don't always get to join us, so I'm really happy to have you here today. Thank you.
Marge, this is Rudy. I've got to leave for another meeting, so I'll catch you next time. See you
Okay,
later.
you're not going to be able to join us?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Take care, Rudy. Hey, Rudy, are you coming to the reunion?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Are you going to go to the dinner on the quad?
Yes.
Okay. I have a special instructions for you regarding that, and I will call you after the meeting or email you, one or the other. Okay.
Yeah, use the email.
Okay. Thanks, Rudy. Thanks for
Thank
letting
you.
me know.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Hey, Chuck. We've got another newcomer. Just a minute, Chuck.
Freddie.
Fred Brown.
Yes.
Yeah, Freddie.
This is your first time with the
No,
picture
second.
and the whole bit.
Second time.
Okay.
Okay.
Art.
Whoa. Hey, Fred. Did you
Hi,
ever
Dave.
did you get to tell us
Oh,
your
Chuck.
life after Stanford in 5 minutes or less?
I'll work on it. I played golf quite a bit. Got to play in the U.S. Open and make the cut. Went over to play in the British Open, and on the train back to London, I sat with Gene Saracen and just had a wonderful experience. Got a chance to play with Byron Nelson at one time, and Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. And then eventually I retired up here. I was a manufacturer's representative after doing some other things. That's instrumentation and controls and stuff. And 3 of us had a company. And I live in Morro Bay, overlooking the ocean. It's very nice. So that's about it. I'm married to a girl named Holly, but she went to National College of Education in Evanston, Illinois, and was a kindergarten teacher at Manhattan Beach. And I met her on a blind date, and we're still going.
Pretty nice.
Fred Brown has it all figured out. We'll say it that way.
Fred, tell us about your chess.
Hey, John
Oh,
Matthews.
Yeah, wait just a second. For 25 years since I got up to Morro Bay, I got involved in teaching chess to kids, and then I was a chess coach at grammar schools for about a little over 20 years, and really found it rewarding. And we found a method for teaching kids chess in 4 sessions, and it was interesting. And I still play chess 4 or 5 times a week. So,
John Matthews, I'm so glad to see you. You were kind enough to let me know you'd be late. I'm glad you're here. Want to just give us a few words?
I was late because I had my annual physical exam, and I discovered that I have gained 20 pounds in 1 year. Holy smokes. Very few of my pants fit me anymore. But let me just say it this way. The food at the Sequoias here at Portola Valley is very good. We'll say it that way.
Well, I'm happy that you're there and that you're enjoying the Sequoias.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
great.
And it's good to see Fred and Art on this call as well.
Yeah, I'm happy. All right, I saved Chuck Stockholm for last. He isn't always able to join us, but he is this time. And I expected him to perhaps be talking to us from Hawaii, but in spite of that beautiful picture, he isn't. But Chuck, please share with us, first of all, what you've been doing, but some of your personal views of what's going on right now.
What part of the world? We haven't been doing too much. It's been a year of travel, and I think Jean was mentioning somebody before me. It's getting more and more difficult to travel, as all of you know. We just got back not too long ago from a trip to Iceland and Greenland, which was great. Except getting there was a trip to hell, and I think we ended up instead of having 2 stops, we had 2 red eyes in a row due to plane cancellation. So it was tiring, and we kind of thought, gee, we've been to 3 trips already this year. Maybe we should cancel the trips for the rest of the year and kind of relax. And we did that, and I just committed to another trip today. So I guess I'm not very strong-willed or a glutton for punishment, one or the other. But I think we spent this month has been a month of funerals and memorials. So it's getting more and more like that every day. But we still have a lot of fun. We get out a lot. I'm delighted here to see 3 of us from the basement of Encina, Fred and Dave Bragg and Rudy. Rudy was one of my roommates, and he backed out, I guess, when he saw us. I don't know, but that was a good group down there. I enjoyed it. And my big question to you, Marge, is, and we've got somebody from Stanford here. Can somebody educate us on what's happening with regard to a new president, and is that going to change things as far as Stanford is concerned?
Catherine, I'll let you take over.
So that's probably beyond my scope, but I do know that there's a search going, and I would welcome hearing anything that you have to say. I know that the university is very open to input. I don't know, but I don't know what the status of that is and what the process is. So I'm sorry, I can't be more helpful to that end.
I've heard a few people in our age group say that they wish they could tell the university to stick with somebody local next time. In other words, don't reach out on the worldwide basis to find somebody. There's lots of good people around here that have been more part of Stanford's life that would do a great job being president. So just sharing what I've heard.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Catherine, a question for you.
Yes.
Could you go over the procedure for staying at the Stanford?
It's called the Stanford Guest House, Terry.
Yes. I can definitely, Terry, I can get that information to you in an accurate fashion. I know that there are rooms and that there's a process for signing up. I think that there's some rooms that are being held and they are available to book.
I called them to be sure that that was correct.
Okay.
And I have their telephone number, and they put me on hold and came back promptly and said, absolutely. If you use those special words called the Cardinal Society, we have a block of rooms available for you. And Terry, I can give you that phone number and everything in bed tonight.
When I called, they said that the rooms were $189 a night, and that you could not get 2 beds in one room. They only have one big bed.
Okay.
So you either have to sleep with the person you have the room with, or you have 2 rooms.
Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you, Jean. I didn't do that, but I just wanted to be sure that we weren't giving out bad information.
Well, it just meant that Marilyn and I would have to each have a room, rather than when we go to a motel, we can get 2 beds in one room and save $200.
Right. And by the way, is Jean Mudge, are you coming to the reunion also?
I'm not sure yet. There's a lot on my plate.
Okay. Well, we're gonna talk about the reunion before we end this meeting. But I wanted to share with you. First of all, I wanted to tell you, we've been going to a lot of funerals too. But one of them was for Terry's sister, who is in our class. Her husband just passed away.
Oh, okay.
But she's in a memory care place. So
Oh, Jesus.
anyway, both of those facts are sad for all of us to digest.
Oh, wow.
Although I had a lovely visit with her. And by the way, I did some research on how do you deal with people who have memory loss. I found out some ways to deal with people, and I used them with Joanne, and it worked out beautifully.
Marge,
Yes.
I have a footnote on dealing with people with dementia, which my sister has. I have a weekly FaceTime talk with her. And when I get into memories way in our childhood, she is dead on. She's very able to dredge up those older memories. So we have a riotous time, as you might imagine, recreating, really, I mean, from scratch again, our very close relationship when we were growing up. So maybe that's something to try. Perhaps it doesn't work with everybody, but it sure works with my sister.
Oh, I thank you for saying that, because I now have another family member who also is being diagnosed with dementia. And I just spoke with her today, and she was at a loss. And I did this same technique, and suddenly she just relaxed and was so happy that she didn't have to try to remember that I have lived it with her. I know it. And I'm going to try that, to go back to the early years and see if those memories are better. It's breaking my heart, but you know what? It's part of life. And I think we all have to learn to live with it and deal with it as best we can.
The thing that's so delightful for me is that my sister remembers these old times sometimes better than I do. She would dredge up names even. That really pleases her tremendously.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Obviously, it pleases me.
I'm going to try to encourage that. Okay. I'm going to just share a couple of things with you. Let's see. Yeah, I've got several things to share. First, and one is, do you all remember the name Ginny Castagnola?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so her name is Ginny Castagnola Hunter, and she lives in Montecito. She lives in Montecito, very fancy place. And her neighbor is Terry and his wife. They live down the street. She said the helicopters flying over drive her crazy, but they're getting better. But anyway, she passes along her good wishes to all of you. She can't join because she doesn't like to do computer or Zoom or any of those things. But she's letting you know she's very well, continues with her exercise classes and is active in the family business. I believe she's still president of their, not corporation, it's their foundation. So, and then I have a wonderful communication for you from Mike Arnstein. So I have two things to wrap it up. One will be Mike's wonderful communication, and the other will be to just ask if any of you have any questions about the coming reunion. Or
I have a question about costs. Do you have, I know if you go to the dinner that's a separate cost.
Yeah.
If you want to go to the Cardinal party on Friday night, that's a separate cost. But if you're going to want just lunch and see all of the classes, do you still have to buy a Cardinal Society pass?
I don't think so, but I think a Cardinal Society pass would get you into everything except the dinner quad dinner.
But if you know, so if we want to go to lunches and so forth, we're going to need to have a Cardinal pass.
You could probably buy them individually. I haven't priced it out. I just,
It doesn't show that you can do that.
I think you can do it
On your disc.
individually, but if not, Catherine, do you know?
I don't have specific information on all of the costs, but I can certainly get that to you. Would
I
that
would
be
appreciate
helpful?
it. Yeah.
And so who is that again? I have a
Jean
couple.
Lay.
Yeah, you gotta watch
Lee,
those
it's
PPAs.
Laye, Jean
Oh,
Lay.
Jean Lake. Yes, got it. Thank you. Yes, I can get back to you on costs.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And are there any other questions? Are any of you planning to come? I know some of you are close enough to be able to come. John, are you coming to any of the events?
At the moment, I'm not, I don't have it on the schedule. I'm sorry, you know.
And Ken Carlson, are you coming?
I am not. I came last year though. That
Yeah,
was
you
fun.
did. I was, the reason I'm asking, especially to people who are local, like Art Stoffer, are you going to come?
Not sure.
Okay. So Terry and I, as you know, are having a party, what are we going to call it? A tailgate party. It's
get-together.
during the game. So if you would prefer not to go to the football game and come to our house, which is where I think it's about 2 miles from campus. We did it last year. It was wonderful. There were about, I think there were 18, 15, 16.
Yeah, there were
there.
about 15 to 18 people there.
Yeah.
And we had lovely food and we got to see the game and had a lovely time chatting with what people.
It was fun. It was fun. So we're going to do the same thing again this year.
But
So
it's
we
not
invite
bad.
any of you who are nearby to please come just to that, if nothing else, or to whatever things you choose to go to.
Marge, excuse me, but you used to do that when I came years ago. You always had a party
Right.
Yeah, we
after
did.
the reunion. Yeah, and
We did.
there was a big crowd then.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I've got some movies and pictures of that. It's like, whoa, I really.
No,
That was
everybody
fun.
has to realize that there may not even be a football game.
Oh, gosh.
And it might be from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So we're going to get together instead of having a football party. So
we're going to do whatever
we'll
works.
have it during the time that decent people have football games. But, so regardless of even whether or not we have the game, we will be here.
We will do it.
Marilyn and I will be there.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
And we are going to be at the dinner on Thursday night.
I look forward to any of you. And you're going to be there Thursday night?
Yeah.
Oh, well then that's very important. And I know that, is anybody else going to be there for the dinner on the quad? Because we're going to have a different, somebody got hold of me last year. Have any of you been to the dinner on the quad?
Yes.
Yes.
A long time.
100 years ago.
Several years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it gets close to the time, 7 o'clock, the doors open and everybody goes in. As you know, the tables are reserved for classes, but not by individual names. Therefore, you need to get in, and the classes they all surge in, they want to go together. If you are our age and, you know, beginning to have trouble getting around, it gets a little bit dangerous. And last year, the crowd right at the entrance surged in.
Oh.
And, you know, I was almost gonna be swept over. And I grabbed on to this wonderful, great big, tall young man. And he just hung on to me and he took me inside to a pillar. And I said, great, I'm safe here. I can hang on to the pillar because this mass of people just swarms by.
That's so scary.
I've talked to Stanford about it and we've got a solution. And so I'm going to read it to you for those of you, and for anybody who's even thinking you might like to go, this is simply the answer to the problem. The tables are seated on a first come, first serve basis. you will not be able to enter the quad until it's open for dinner at 7 p.m. Only guests with mobility issues may enter the quad prior to opening in order to allow extra time for them to find seating. And I've now been told that all of the Cardinal Society people who are attending should gather at that entrance together, and we will all be allowed to go in together, find a table that we want, sit together, and be seated before they ever open the gate for anyone else.
Very good.
So if that changed anyone's mind about going, that's wonderful. And Terry, by
Bring
the
your
way,
cane, is that it? Bring your cane?
yeah, oh, for sure. Or your
Bring your
walker,
walker.
or anything. Terry's going to have a hip replacement September 14th.
Ooh,
That's the date? Yeah. And, you know, that date, the October thing, he may not be 100%. So for sure, the walker is going to be a great protection. You just hold it in front of you and ram your way through.
No, actually, I'm gonna have crutches with sharp points on the ends.
You may need a wheelchair.
Weaponized crushes.
actually, if you are having it in September, by the end of October, that third week, you should be doing really pretty well, because hips are not
Sure.
as tough as knees.
Yeah, they're neat.
And-
He's had one already, so it should be okay.
And
But
they're
you have to
likely to
plan
have
for
you
the
stand up
worst.
the same day.
Oh, I know.
They'll have you walking on it.
Oh, they get you up right away.
They send you home that day.
I know.
Unreal, back in
yeah,
Boston.
He's 92. So when you get to be 92, they're like, yeah, we're going to keep you an extra day. Okay.
Good.
Marge, you did a great job selling dinner on the quad.
Oh,
Great.
great. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah,
right.
it's a good plan, I think. You know, it's
yeah.
definitely been a subject of conversation.
Yeah. And I think that's going to work fine if we just gather. Like Jean, you and I will make sure that we're just going to be together, and we'll just go in early and be safe.
Yes, ma'am.
That, by the way, that big guy that helped me last year and his wife, that he looked just like Mike Zuckerberg. No, what's his name? Zuckerberg. What's his first? Mark.
Yeah.
He looked just like Mark Zuckerberg, and she looked like Priscilla, whatever. But I thought, yeah, no, they're not. Their name tags didn't say that, but I didn't care. They were so sweet. They just took care of me and helped me in. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to pretend that Mike Arnstein, who is our wonderful class correspondent, is with us, because at this point, I would usually say, well, Mark, Mike, I think we are reaching the end, and everybody's getting tired, so we're going to sign off. So I'm going to let you wrap up with just a few words about our other classmates. So Mike isn't here, and he's got a message for you, and I'm going to read it. Hello there, you jolly Zoomers. I'm sorry I'm unable to join you all today. I promised Marge I'd give you an update on my classmate contacts and a peek into the coming columns. The September column features a little history of the chemistry building and stories of chemistry majors Peter Wu and John Bennett. Peter, a scientist and inventor of important drugs, lives in Ann Arbor and roots for Jim Harbaugh. John is an infectious disease specialist. You will admire his achievements, which are awesome. He lives in Maryland and still participates. We also spotted up with chemical engineers Jarvis Watson in Sacramento and Alan Schlumberger in Detroit. Both are in good spirits and send their good wishes. We just turned in our December class notes column, Classy Clark Denevers stars. She thrives in Salt Lake City and is full of vim and vigor. And by the way, her husband is Terry's classmate, and he passed away just a couple of years ago now. Did Noel, Terry?
Yes, he was a professor of chemical engineering at the University of Utah.
So, but listen to what Clancy's doing. Clancy reminds me of Jean Mudge a little. Says Mike. She's an author and is currently working on the screenplay for a mini-series based on her book, The Colonel and the Pacifist. And just as an aside, Betty, you asked for recommendations about good books. I read this book years ago. It is fabulous. What a mini series that's going to make. I'm thrilled.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, following Clancy, you will meet PhD Jed Cooper, who came to Stanford from Panguitch, Utah. He retired from teaching and went back to Panguitch and became mayor, among other things. Not far from Panguitch in St. George, Betty Nelson, she was one of my roommates, gave us lessons on how to enjoy retirement. I begged Betty to join us, and she said, that's not my thing. So I think, she listens to the YouTubes, but she doesn't want to be here. So hi, Betty. Just had a great phone visit with Betty Neeland Crowley. Hey, Betty, you're going to be starred. Another high-spirited classmate who is still a substitute teacher at Winchester High School in Winchester, Massachusetts, the same school she graduated from in 1951. She still sports a mild Boston accent and remembers many classmates and capers. I also found Ann Knowles Nitson at the Sequoias. John, has you met her yet? Ann Knowles Nitson.
No, I haven't. Not yet. No.
Okay. I went to Peninsula School in Menlo Park with her. Amazing. Okay. I plan to attend the reunion in October and hope to see many of you there. Have a great Zoom. See you next time, from Mike. And so with that.
Thanks, Marge. Thanks. That's very
If
nice.
you have anything else, anybody? Then we will wrap it up, and I'll say thank you once again for sharing your stories and for communicating with your class. I will make my Zoom video of you, and you'll all become movie stars.
Hope you all have a good Labor Day.
Thank you, Marge.
Wonderful to see you. Thanks so
for putting it
much.
together.
Thank
And
you, and very
we'll-
nice to meet all of you. I'm sorry that my colleague Robin couldn't join, but she will also be helping with the Cardinal Society happy hour this year. So
Wonderful.
to
Thank
see
you
you all
very much
there.
for being with us. We appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you there.
Excellent. I look
And
forward to it as well.
I'll say goodbye. Thank you to everybody.
And thank you.
Anybody that
you.
wants
Thank
to
you.
stay on and talk, I won't hang up till you're all gone.
Thanks, Marge.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you,
nice.
Marge.
Very
We
nice. Thank
appreciate
you.
your being there, Marge, and keeping us all together.
Thanks so much, Jean. Bye-bye.
Room 13.